This program is brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana. Good evening and welcome to First Issues. Our endeavor to inspire a shift towards entrepreneurship in these days of a lack of employment opportunities and calls for the private sector to lead economic growth continues. This is the segment we bring you stories of entrepreneurs who decided they will be in the history books of those who heeded this call. On the program this evening, we have healthpreneur in the naturopathy space, Dr. Carolyn Gasefete at Cana Lifestyle Centre. With a degree in social sciences, majoring in economics and public administration from the University of Botswana, Dr. Gasefete figured crunching numbers and making educated assumptions about the economy would not be a part of the future, and so she decided to instead follow the teachings of the church about leading a healthy lifestyle. It is from these teachings that she was inspired to pursue the path of natural and holistic medicine, leading to a master's degree in naturopathy and holistic medicine from the Da Vinci Institute of Natural Medicine. The center is now 6 years into operations and complements Western medicine for those looking for natural approaches to treating their ailment. This does not mean that it has always been smooth sailing, because there have been times when the tides were very high. Other times the tides were very violent, while in some cases very calm. But these, according to Dr. Gasefete, are the joys of entrepreneurship. We have a talk with her right now on this segment.
I got into this space because I realized there was a gap in holistic wellness in Botswana, especially. Mostly people knew natural or traditional healing style in Botswana. So I realized that there was a gap in that many people did not understand holistic wellness from a formally trained perspective. So I decided to fill that gap for Botswana. And I decided to take the training to become a doctor of naturopathy, and therefore it led me to where I am right now as a holistic health and naturopathic entrepreneur.
Maybe one could want to know what one of the greatest lessons from that has been for you in this journey.
I have learned that as an entrepreneur in particular, one has to be patient, one has to be resilient in what they do. Botswana is not exactly accommodating, especially when it comes to holistic health and naturopathic entrepreneurship. So I learned that one has to grow beyond who you are. One has to learn every day. So patience and resilience to me has been one of the greatest lessons.
Can you elaborate further, but perhaps giving us a maybe shift in perspective that you have had about entrepreneurship in general?
I have learned during this journey that entrepreneurship is basically not about freedom. As a lot of people would think that I own my business and I'll be free to do whatever I want, but it's that you will actually have periods where you do not have the freedom to do what you want. Times where you'll have to sacrifice everything so that whatever you are doing should be successful. So this is what I learned. That is why I'm saying it is not about what you are doing, it's also about who you become in the process. And this helps to grow. It helps you to grow. It helps you to become a different person than who you thought you would be. Sometimes when we start up journeys in entrepreneurship, we think everything is going to fall into place according to our dreams, but that's not always the case. And when things do not turn up the way you had planned, what do? You don't dump everything and run, but there's a character shift. There's faith that grows and says, I will make it through this. You have to be resilient. You have to be patient through it all.
And you have not given up, and I want to talk about the fruit that have been born out of your resilience and patience. Are you able to share with us some of your successes that you have managed to achieve along the way?
Last year, I took part in the Fnbb that was hosted by the Botswana Innovation Hub, and through a lot of hard work and sleepless nights, we became position 3 in the process. That is one of our successes. And later that year, we were also part of the Africa Challenge, the Founders of Africa, FOIA, and early this year we emerged Healthpreneurs of the Year. So we currently hold that title of Healthpreneurs of the Year in all of Africa. We're competing with other countries like Kenya, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and everything, and we brought it home for Botswana. So these are some of our successes. Our other successes have been here in our small office, when we see what we do changing the lives of people every single day. We deal with chronic illnesses, and seeing a person being able to reverse a chronic disease, to us it's a success almost every day. It changes the life of a person. It makes them better than who they were when they first entered here, and it's always very, very good to hear those testimonies coming from people. I had this disease, or somebody coming in and say, I come recommended because you helped so and so with this condition, and you are seen as a beacon of hope. So I believe God has blessed us to be change makers in people's lives. There are times that I've met maybe a lady in the mall, and she'll greet me, and maybe she's with 2 or 3 children, and she'll say, these are your children, and I would ask, I'll be confused, how are they my children? She'll say, I had given up hope, and all the specialists had said I cannot give birth, and look at them, since I came to you, these are the fruits. So to us, we registered that as a success. So the trophies that we earn out there are not the only successes that we are seeing in what we do. So the everyday lives that are being changed are a success to us.
Dr. Carolyn Gasefete stands on the belief that one must be willing to be changed and taught by the ebbs and flows of entrepreneurship if they are to succeed in their quest for excellence. Stay tuned to First Issues.
bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala go duela metsi.
Mama, ka re male jana ha o tlhoka le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. Fnb re diretse tiro motho. Ma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwao la Fnb Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mang wa gago mo tirisong le reference number e bon dinomoro tse diriswang go ruragatsa dituelo tsa gago.
Fnb what?
Fnb Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke monto sampolele ka mananeo a Fnb ya Cash Plus.
La ha re le nna ke gone go utwang ka dona ebile ke ne ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
FNB.
Dona nyawa ena ke ra sa thare mpare motiki na ke ra go motho hela mamrapedi go tola skontere hela o bua go semosong wa go duela semosong manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
Welcome to First Issues. We are on this segment where we talk about challenges that entrepreneurs may come across on their paths. These challenges are varied in both category and size. Some are simply a matter of changing perspective, while others financial in manner. Some, like in the case of our guest tonight, challenge the growth trajectory of the enterprise based on whether or not it is still relevant and appealing to the consumer, thereby forcing a rebrand. Tonight, we talk to cosmetics and beauty products manufacturer, CEO Nora McAslin at Nora Cosmetics, who recently went through a rebrand. While having operated from small mall pop-up shops and the boot of her company car, Nora Cosmetics now has a flagship store at Molapo in Gaborone. The rebrand sees an introduction of 15 liquid foundations named after significant biblical women. She also added a line of concealers labeled with what those of the Christian faith call the fruits of the Spirit. The rebranding of this company shows that this exercise is never just a simple cosmetics or optics change. It is a calculated risk, a public declaration of a new vision, and a response to the ever-shifting landscape of consumer behavior. In Botswana, where the beauty industry is witnessing a notable rise in demand for authenticity and local relevance, the recent rebranding by Nora Cosmetics is a fascinating case study in strategic adaptation. We unpack the story with Nora on First Issues. Nora, thank you so much for coming back on First Issues. Today we're here to talk to you about where you are really in the business, but let us first start by you telling our viewers what it is that you do at Nora Cosmetics.
So Nora Cosmetics is a cosmetic company that was founded in 2016. It just was started out of passion for makeup. I used to be a model and a beauty queen, and I used to see makeup artists taking one product, mixing it with another to come up with a color that best suits me. It always fascinated me, and I knew that there is something wrong here, because why can't we have a color that just is for us? I went to Ghana to study my makeup course through some other brand that was produced in Ghana, and that's really where my passion for makeup started. I brought the products here. I started with a brand that was not mine, but when I was here, there were a lot of hiccups there and there concerning the brand, and one day I just asked myself a question: what if I do this for myself?
You know, at the outset I did say that we're back here, after some time, just to catch up on where you are, how things are, and we know that there has been a rebrand. So we could start there. What necessitated this rebrand?
What necessitated the rebrand was after COVID. We were hit hard by COVID. Actually, before COVID, we wanted to do the rebranding because we had products that came in, and after a month of the products arriving, then a lockdown was declared. So COVID lasted for about 2.5 years, and people were wearing masks. People were not really interested in wearing any makeup, and we struggled quite a bit. And once the masks were removed, our products were almost expiring. A whole entire warehouse full of products expired. So we were really, really hit hard by that. But instead of just folding our arms and saying there's nothing to do, after COVID, then we really went on with my team to sit down and say, listen, we wanted to do this, but we can definitely do it again. And when we do it again, let's do it bigger and better. So really, that's really what motivated the rebrand.
Let us talk about that whole journey to coming to agreeing and understanding that you really do need the rebrand, right? What were some of the hurdles, some pain points that you had to go through in navigating the rebrand, and how you were able to manage those?
Yeah, the biggest challenge was obviously finances. I mean, we're still paying for those products. Now we need more products, and people are really not interested in buying makeup. So really, that was the biggest challenge, finances. But you know what we did? We sat down, and if you are a Nora client, you know that first we used to sell a lot of products. We're not really much into face beads. And then we went on and say, listen, we can actually provide makeup services. Why don't we go on to something else? I mean, even when we do makeup services, we don't really we don't have to use only Nora Cosmetics products. We can use many other products so that we give the people the service. So finances was a big hit, and the fact that even after COVID, people were still skeptical. about brushes, about this, about that. So it wasn't really easy, to say, come, let's do your face bead. So we had to do a lot of marketing for us to be able to get ourselves back, to say that, listen, we are still here, things have been hard, and people still didn't have the money actually to spend on things like cosmetics.
So as an entrepreneur, with all of these struggles, why do you keep going?
Listen, for me, I'm very passionate about what I do. It's not just a job, I always say, it's a ministry. If I'm going to be sitting at home, not applying makeup on these women, for me, I feel like there is no purpose for me. My job is very purpose-driven. It's full of passion, it's full of purpose. So when you start something as an entrepreneur out of purpose, out of passion, you will always find a reason to get up, even when things are falling apart.
Even with hurdles hurling their fists towards you, Nora McAslin says to stand tall and firm in your resolve to become a successful entrepreneur. We will see you shortly after the break.
bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala go duela metsi.
Mama, ka re maletse yana ha o tlhoka le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. FNB re diretse tiro motlho.
Senthe.
Ma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwao la FNB Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mang wa gago mo tirisong le reference number e bong dinomoro tse diriswang go ruragatsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke montso sampolele ka mananeo a FNB ya Cash Plus.
Hela ha re le nna ke gone go utlwang ka dona ebile ke ne ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
FNB.
Dona. Nyawa ene ke ra sethere mpare motiki. Na ke ra go motho hela mamarapedi. Go tola skontere hela. Wa go semosong wa go duela semosong. Manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
Welcome back to First Issues. We are on the last segment where we discuss solutions to some issues encountered by entrepreneurs on their journeys. A case in point may be Nora McAslin at Nora Cosmetics' challenge of being stuck with damaged makeup products in storage during the COVID-19 pandemic. The financial losses there are immense, but are not unique. Regardless, they don't have to be a pain point because there is a solution. Fire Cover is an insurance cover that deals with such, covering stock theft and damage and a plethora of other risks. Business Development Manager at one of the local commercial banks, Rebaone Khuwe, shares the details.
Before I start on that, I'll just use a relevant example of what recently happened. I remember there were some floods that recently happened. So our fire cover does not actually restrict to losses that would be incurred due to a fire loss. So it's a wide scope of cover. So normally we term it as fire and allied perils under insurance terms. So those allied perils are basically referring to damage that may be caused by wind, water, hail, snow. I remember Botswana, we were of the thought that right, but we've since seen what has happened. So those that had insured their buildings, particularly businesses, they normally have the warehouse and so those that had insured their buildings and they got damaged by the recent water floods that happened, they got assisted. So the fire cover is a wide scope of cover. It doesn't normally restrict to only damage that is caused by fire. So any damage that is caused by also zonebo how can I pay for the dona and they tend to damage your buildings. Now the fire cover is the policy that will respond to that. And then it also does not restrict to only buildings. We have businesses that have machinery, very, very expensive machinery. So we can also offer cover for that machinery. It also covers the contents more building. Yeah. And remember, there's also businesses that are into retail, barekisa and stoko sa gago le sone. It also needs to be covered. So it's a very wide scope of cover. So even if you do not own a building as a business, remember there are some items that may be regarded as valuable assets. So in a stock, so they may be covered under fire.
To know if you're eligible, Rebaone says all you have to do is get in touch with a representative to find out what your options are.
For as long as you have a business operating within the borders of Botswana, you should be eligible. Yeah. So normally what we do, as I've mentioned before, it's a client and then Rona as advisors or as specialists, we will now tailor make a solution that would now address to your needs already on what is actually going to be happening or what are your business needs. So anyone can just apply. Our offices are either you talk to your business banker, either you talk to your relationship manager, or you can just walk through the First Place branch and ask for the insurance department.
In the end, every challenge encountered has a solution. All you need to do as an entrepreneur is discover the best for yours. That brings us to the end of tonight's program. Till next time, good night. This program was proudly brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.